right. Okay. Thank you.
Good morning. We are so honored that you're here today. It's one of the most difficult days that we'll ever face in our life. And I want to encourage you today to do something for me. I want you to forget about life for just a little bit and remember the good things about Rich. But today, if I could share anything, there's many, many stories, and I could stand here and say, is there anybody have a word about him? And people would stand up all over this place and share, because he's made a difference in your life. And I want to encourage you today that you would be a group of people that would help us to understand how important life is. He was a young man who just had passion. When you saw him and met him, he had a charismatic personality, and he was a person that had a big smile, and he met no strangers, and he always had a joke. Some of them were not, they were not appropriate, but he did it anyway. He had this big idea he had an artist's soul. He was just so creative. We were talking with the family back there just a few moments ago. And today, because the sun is so bright, it's a beautiful day, and he could just be painting the world. He was a very talented musician, and he loved drums and the bass guitar. And it was in his spare time, which I don't know how much spare time he ever had. But if some of you know this name, Bob Ross, who is a painter, and he would love to watch that and create ideas. And this is why it's so important. And then the fun part about him that I think was people just don't know and don't really, he was making movies. I wanted to star in it, but I don't know if I was going to make the cut or not. But he had this heart, and he had things he would write down, and he would actually just enjoy what he was doing. Today we're here because he was a wonderful man, a good young man, and he has gone way before the time that we wanted him. I want you to continue to pray for his family, but especially Alex. I want you to pray for her, and that you would just lift her up and encourage her. Let me tell you how you can do that, and you'll hear me say this again at the end. If you have something good that you would like to share, would you email, text, or just write her a letter? And just let her know what Rich meant to you, so that she would know and have those things holding. So today I want to just make a statement about something. A friend loves at all times. And that was him. He loved you. You're here. He loved you and you loved him. So let us not forget that today. So we have some friends of his that are going to come and share. I want to ask my new friend, Hank, to come and share. Hank, would you come and share with us?
Good morning. I'm here to talk about my little cousin, Rich Rumreich. Richard's mother, Dorothy, was my father's little sister. And we grew up relatively close, spent a lot of time together, family events, so on and so forth. Rich came into our world when I was 13. We were overjoyed. It was like a new branch of our family just sprouting. He was always a handful in the best way, but always a handful. Super inquisitive. Rich was always exploring his world, often in ways the adults were not fully prepared for. Rich was turning 3 when the movie Batman was released with Jack Nicholson as the Joker. And there was a line in it, this town needs an enema. Well, little Rich was running around, this town needs an enema. So it's a good thing he was only this tall. Otherwise, it was going to be a long day for somebody. He would have done it. even if he didn't know what it meant. As he was discovering his world and understanding the people in it, his inquisitive, sometimes bull in the china closet kind of way, everybody learned around him. You may have taken for granted the world, the way you perceived it was the way the world was, but Rich would force you to look again, to consider things differently. He did this his entire life. Strange to say, from a teen's point of view, I saw my aunt and uncle grow. My Uncle Rod more than anyone. Always driven to succeed, life took deeper meaning for him as a dad. He was more patient with everybody. I think about Rich and my uncle doing things like fishing, quiet time, just sharing each other's presence in nature. I suspect it was during these times Rich learned to be gentle with the earth and with the people in his life. Despite his intellectual and physical gifts, things were seldom easy for Rich. As he grew, Rich's view of the world changed, giving him endless chance for discovery, an ever-present challenge of navigating a path for himself in the world anew. There's a struggle that which we all face, to which we can all relate, and every man growth and struggle which made Rich so authentic. Whether or not you always agreed with him, and frankly at times you seldom would, he was always approaching things uniquely on his terms. You could always see his current perspective was reached in earnest and with passion. In his authenticity, Rich was a guy with whom you knew where you stood. He could cut to the heart of the matter with a dry but fierce and uproarious wit. Loyal to his core, Rich was a guy you could trust. You could go bury the skeletons with him and no one would know any skeletons existed. This is conjecture, of course. I have no stories to share. Wink, wink. It's cliche to say someone had a big heart, but it was true with him. Rich never wanted to hurt those he loved, especially, and he did so. If he did so unintentionally, he really took it upon himself to fix things, both within himself and in the relationship. I never saw Rich happier than with Alex. His wedding was a coming-of-age moment, as you could see him embrace becoming a man in a new way. He was happy to take responsibility and commitment. It was also much more than that. He was happy to yield accountability, to be pushed to be a better man by someone he trusted with his heart and soul. Someone to be a partner in the truest sense as he continued his exploration of the ever-changing world around him and of the ever-evolving person within. This is where I fall off to a degree where my words become a little bit more about me, or it's where I saw Rich 7 years ago. We lose contact with one another to one degree or another, and that's true of most every relationship. How we need to do more to go beyond ourselves to support one another. How even in passing, Rich teaches me to not take the world as I see it for granted, to see it from a perspective other than my familiar view, to explore and to yield accountability to those I love. Thank you.
Where I come from, when a man or a lady stands up and does that, we clap for them. Would you just be an encourager for him? I have another new friend. Mike, come on up here, buddy.
I wrote something down, but probably just wing it. Rich was a great friend, a homie, a bro, a fellow DDC comrade. He was a lot to all of us, everybody in this room. We all loved Rich as much as he loved us. Although there are a ton of hilarious stories I could think of, I was going through when I thought about speaking. I thought, well, there's a million stories, but all I have to tell you about is the last time I saw Rich. Um, about a week ago, I'm having some outdoor plumbing problems, and Rich come over and he just got this new camera snake, right? So it's like a locator put in my poo pipe. He comes over, no problem, and I had to locate it because the city didn't know where my sewer was, which way it's running. Nobody knew anything. Well, I think it's over yonder, yada, yada. So, but Rich saved me, $5,000, give or take, right? Because he had a locator. We found it. I dug it up the next day with a machine. But when Rich is there, I'm just, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. Thanks. Man, this is Rich. Nah, man, I'm just helping a homie out. You helped me out plenty of times, man. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I appreciate it, bro. You know what I mean? And but the way Rich was something important that night was at the we hung out for a little bit after, talked about highs, lows, jokes, life, just talking like bros. And at the end of the night, I was about to take him home, and Rich just gave me a hug, not but a solid, just 15-second, 20-second hug. And Rich told me he loved me, and I assured him I loved him too. And what I'd learned from Rich was, you gotta, as far as your family and friends, you gotta love them hard and hug them harder. Thank you.
Can I give you a thought in between the next person? Each person is given something to do that shows who you are. And if everyone gets in on it, everyone benefits. And you're benefiting today because of Rich's life. Eric, would you come, please? My new friend, Eric, would you come and share with us, please?
Morning, everybody. So we don't have to think much about Rich's personality. I think we all already knew what it was from the beginning. I knew him for about 23 years. And here we are today. He really stood out. He was an extreme ball of energy, to say the least. His charismatic ways and his support and love that he has for everybody in this room. If everybody could just think of one or two of the best memories you've ever had with him, hang on to it. He was extremely supportive. The way he talked about Alex, I've never seen him so happy. But here we are today. Knowing that everything that he's done for us and we've done for him just lasts forever. So just everybody think about him, Alex, Dorothy, Christina, just everybody who's there. And he knows it. I was going to say some other stuff, but it's inappropriate. So we could talk about that later. So everybody just breathe. Be strong. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Eric. If you knew him, you would know his dream was to move to the beach. And it's not a bad thing. The beach is a great place. It's around here, and he was a man who loved to fish, and he seemed to be happy when he done that. He just loved being outdoor. He would have loved to have lived in a tent. Alex didn't, but he would have loved to have lived in a tent. He was hardworking. He would walk up to you and not even know you, and he would have a word to lift you up. It might be about, I love that outfit. Or it might have been your voice was unique to him, and I love to hear you talk. He would have said that about me because I'm a redneck. And so he would have, the thing about him was that people were magnetized by his personality. People were drawn to him by his passionate moments of speech, and he was everything you can dream. Oh, he had to do the plumbing thing because he had so many other hobbies that he liked as much. But he did those things. He would go, and he was a person that you just saw him loving life. So let me come to this point. No one is promised tomorrow. No one. I do over 50 funerals a year, and 65% of the people I don't know, I become friends with the family and learn all kind of stuff. We need to slow down. We need to look around. We need to be an encourager to people and not a negative person. I know the world is tough and things are not always good, but we can make it better. Rich made it better. He was always trying to do something. I love what Mike was saying a while ago when he's over there doing stuff. I thought he did a great imitation of it until we might keep him around. And what happens, he wasn't worried about time. He sure wasn't worried about money. He wasn't worried about getting paid. He was worried about his friend. His friend had troubles, and what happens is that he was trying to make a difference. So the question becomes, he's given us a model to follow, and we need to follow that model. So when we see someone new tomorrow or Monday, if you really want to see some folks new, there's a Walmart right down the street. Just walk through this as a good testing ground and just begin to see people from a different position. He wasn't worried about how much money you had. He wasn't interested in what position that you held in life. He was just loving everybody. His whole concept was that you would know him and like him. But I've heard over and over and over from people how Alex changed his life. And it was all good. I think for you and I, we need to make sure that we tell her those good things. So in kind of coming to the end of this part, I need you to understand that you need to see life one way. Make every day count. Because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We need to make every day count. I'm so impressed with Alice. I have to say this. She's passionate and determined. She's strong. And Rich was a part of that making. She has a passion to be a nurse. Well, you're going to have to do that to take care of people. That's all Rich was doing, was taking care of all you. Oh, he was a cut up, and there's stories that we can't tell in here. We'll have to tell outside. But we need to tell that story. So life is something that's unique for us. It's not easy, but if we all pull together, we can make it together. Just remember this. If Rich was standing here today, he would tell you we're better together. We're better together. I'd like to read a prayer to you. Christine and her family want it read, and I want to read it to you and just want you to do something different. I don't want you to bow your heads. I don't want you to do that. I want you to just listen to what I'm reading. It's called the 11-step prayer. Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that we are here, we are there is hatred, I may bring love. There are wrongs. I want to bring the spirit of forgiveness. That when we're here of discord, we need to bring harmony. Then there's the error. I want to bring truth. That there is doubt. I may want to bring faith. There may be despair. I want to bring hope. There even may be shadows, and I want to bring light. There may be sadness. I want to bring joy. Lord, grant me that I can seek rather than comfort, than to be comforted, to understand than to understood, to be understood, to love and to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds, it is by forgiving that one is forgiven. It is dying that one awakes in eternal life. For you and I, we need to understand we're on this earth to make a difference. And we need to do that today. Because Rich has done that for us. Because he loved you. Would you please stand? Everybody except the family, would you please stand?